Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah. He is our Father. And Yahusha, he's the Mashayah. You know, the one that carries the burden of Yah. His voice. Our high priest. Soon coming King. Hear, O Yeshua. Yahuwah, who is our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one, brothers and sisters, than Yahuwah. And Yahusha is his voice. This is Brother Dawood coming to you again to ask another question. What are the false Passover dates? Here they are. IUIC, that is Israel United in Christ, April 20th to the 26th. The Jews, April 5th in the evening to the 13th. The Romans, April 9th. Brother Dawood, I didn't know that the Romans celebrated Passover. Well, they celebrate something called Easter. In the church, we called it Resurrection Sunday. You cannot have a resurrection until he went to the grave first. So the Jews have to put out their date. Then the Romans can put out theirs. What am I showing you? The collaboration between the demons and the devils. And they are demons and devils, brothers and sisters. We have to tell the truth. Here's another one. Here's someone else who joined in with them. Our brothers from IUIC. They're no different than the Jews, you know. Did you know that they used to start from the dark moon? People noticed it. So they switched to the full moon. But basically, they're on the same time. Here's an anomaly that happened this year. Most of you do not have the ability to check or understand how this works. And I'm going to tell you now, if you don't learn this, how are you going to know whether or not you're following the right time? Okay. Look at the dates. Once you spot the renewed moon, you're supposed to count 14 days to the evening, which would be the 15th day. Do you understand? Good. I want you to take 15, subtract it from 20. What day do you come to? 5. Then subtract 13 from 26. What day do you come to? 13. So IUIC only has to wait until the Jews put out their date, and then they come in 15 days later. How many of you understand? If you don't understand, this is the reason that all of these parties are making fools out of you. Let me tell you something else about these three parties. They're also on the same month. April, April, April. If you find yourself in March or in April for the Passover of 2023, you're following a false Passover date. Here's something else. All three of these parties are on Pope Gregory's calendar. You know, the calendar of the Romans. Yeah. I was researching one day and I found this ancient Roman calendar. This is before Constantine the Great took over. Look at the first day of the week. Do you see the one with the sickle? That is Saturn. Saturn's day. Saturday was the first day of the week. The second one, the one that looks like the Statue of Liberty, Sun's day. The next one, Moon's day. The next one, Chwa's day. The next one, Woden's day. The next, Thor's day. Then last, Freya's day. Freya's day was the last day of the week. Constantine, the so-called great, came and changed the calendar and made the first day of the week Sunday, which by default, Saturday, moved to the seventh day of the week. If you are following a Shabbat on Pope Gregory's calendar, you're following one of the gods of these demons and devils. Let's begin. Wayakara, that's Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 4 to 6. I put these words here so that you can see they have changed everything when it comes to the names. What did Constantine say? Absolutely nothing Hebrew. Verse 4. These are the feast of Yahuwah. They're his feast. If you change it, add to it, take away from it, it has become your feast. Even, indeed, holy convocations, gatherings, which you shall proclaim in their seasons. Note, H4150. The word is muad. What does that mean? Appointed time. Not seasons. It's singular, not plural. If it was plural, it'd be muad yam. They put seasons here. Do you know that all of Yahuwah's feasts are dictated by the lunar event? Verse 5. Here's the statute. In the 14th day of the first month, in the evening, is Yahuwah's Passover. This year, the Jews, they started their month from Hadash. Blew my mind. All of you who have the ability, all of my students of time, go check it. Do a backwards count and see which moon you come to. But the Jews started from the slither of light, Hadash. So they have the right starting point, but do they have the first month? They said that they had to add a 13th month. That is demonic speech. It gives you the illusion that there are 13 months in a year when it comes to their religious practice. But what they're not saying is that you're not going to be in the first month. You'll be in the second month. If they would say that you have to go to the second month, you would notice, wouldn't you? So they violated the statute. Is there a statute any place in this book, even a passage that tells you that if the moon moves away from the sun in the amount of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 days, that you have to add a 13th month to the calendar to bring it back to the equinox, to a season on the sun? I've asked this question for over 5 years. No one has answered. If you want to prove whether or not an adjustment is correct, all you have to do is look for a statute or a passage that tells you to add a 13th month. Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahuwah. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. We found out how dangerous Passover is. Most people don't even know. For the soul that eats anything leavened on this day will be cut off from the congregation. What day is that again? It's the 14th day in the evening, which equates to the 15th day. How does a lunar day work? From evening to evening. So the 14th day in the evening is the beginning of the 15th day. You cannot eat anything leavened from the first day of the feast to the 7th day of the feast. What if you added an additional month? You're going to be in a different month, aren't you? You're going to be in the second month. You're going to be eating leaven on a high holy day. What about these Israelite brothers? Do you know that they start their count from the full moon? They say that the full moon is Hadash, the new moon. It is ridiculous to say that. Hadash is dealing with the moon in the slither of light. There it is. I see it. The moon has become visible. There's a separate word for the full moon, kase, full. It doesn't use kase to describe Hadash. It doesn't use Hadash to describe kase. They're two separate events. Hadash is the beginning of the month, the slither of light. Kase is always going to be on the 15th day of the month, because the Father gives you light for your feast. But if you follow these brothers, you're going to be starting your count from the full moon. What happened to the 14 days that the moon had to grow for the light to become full? They've discounted that, and instead fed you one of the biggest lies that is amongst our people. You cannot follow them. You have to check on them. Even me. Prove all things. If you start your feast or your count to the feast from the full moon, you're going to wind up in the end of the month, the lunar month. Yes. And then you're going to straddle 2 months. What did he say? On the 15th day of the same month. You're going to straddle 2 months. You have totally violated this statute. Now, how is it that you're going to follow people who are violating Yah's laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments and feeding it to you, and not listen to someone like me who is telling you how to find Yah's days? Easy. People love lies. Yahuwah Yam. That's Jubilees. Chapter 6, verses 34 to 37. Okay, teachers, it's time for you to learn this. You cannot teach time unless you know this passage. Verse 34. And all the children of Yasharel will forget and will not find the path of years. What are you supposed to look for? An Enoch calendar? Are you supposed to look for some days of remembrance? No. You're looking for the path of years. It's the only thing that Enoch taught. What else will we forget? And we'll forget the renewed moons. Did we forget that? Yes, we did. We're just beginning to rediscover them. And seasons. The word is not seasons. Not here. It's muadyam, plural. Appointed times. Did we forget the seasons? Of course not. Come on, wake up, think about it. Every year, spring, summer, winter, fall. We know the seasons. What did we forget, though? The appointed times. And Shabbats. We're just beginning to return to the Shabbats that are in the sky. We're not dealing with the ones on Pope Gregory's calendar. And they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. Why? Making adjustments. Changing Yah's creation. His creation is perfect. Once man puts his hand into it, it's not perfect anymore. 35. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto you, and it is not of mine own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained. Look at that. On the heavenly tablets. This is Enoch speaking. He is the only one who flew up in the heavens and observed the heavenly tablets. He said the division of days is ordained. What about if you changed it? You violated the heavenly tablets. Do you think Yah is going to switch to your time after you've changed his days? Can you twist his arm? Can you force him to do so? Let's continue. Lest they forget the feast of the covenant. Listen to me. Hanukkah and all of these other feasts, These are not the ones that you have to keep for your salvation. The ones that you have to keep are the feast of the covenant. You signed a contract verbally. You were sprinkled with blood. You need to make sure that you have perfected the feast of the covenant. You don't have to go on to the other feast and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance. Hold it. We have our answer right here. Go to 34 again. And all the children of Yisrael will forget and will not find the path of years. And the reason is because we forgot the feast of the covenant and are walking according to the feast of the Gentiles. Easy solution. Do not walk according to the feast of the Gentiles. They are in error, and they are ignorant. Verse 36, for there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon and how it disturbs the seasons. Can we stop for a second? Seasons is correct here. There are 4 seasons here in the USA, and the moon will go around these seasons. Go through the winter, through the fall, through the summer, back to the spring. It'll join with the sun after 32 and a half to 33 years. And it would start the cycle all over again, just like in creation. So they see how the moon keeps moving backwards 10 days every year, and they said, we have to do something about it. We can't fly up into the sky and change it. So we're going to do it on paper. 37. For this reason the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order. They're going to make an abominable day, the day of testimony. Everyone who's in April, or if you're in May, it's an abominable day. It is not Yah's day. And an unclean day, a feast day. And you think he's going to accept this? Think of Cain and Abel. Abel gave exactly what Yah was looking for. Cain came from the imagination of his mind, and his offering was not accepted. Your offering will not be accepted. And they will confound all the days. Confuse. Haven't they done that? The holy with the unclean, and the unclean with the holy. They're going to have their feast. It's going to be this year on a Thursday. The lunar event for us, projected, should switch to Thursday for April. That is a holy day. But then afterwards, they're going to have their 7 days that they're supposed to eat unleavened bread on unclean days. Note, if you found yourself in April, you were eating leaven on February 5th, and then you count 7 days, you were eating leaven at that time. You didn't clean the leaven out of your house. Why? Because you didn't believe it was Yah's day. Because it was in February, and you were puffed up, and you said, I know I have the right day. Yet, can you calculate how everyone came about their date? Do you know all of the equations? Do you know what to look for? Can you teach it the way that I teach it? You're spewing out lies, and you're lying to yourself. It's easy to correct. Just repent. Return to Yahuwah. Don't do it until you have checked this out for yourself and proven it. Make sure that it's right. Let's continue. For they will go wrong. As to the months, if you added additional months to the calendar, and this year it seems like we're 2 months away from them. And Shabbats, they're on Pope Gregory's calendar, keeping his Shabbats. And feast, they have totally forgot the feast days. Their calculations are incorrect. Their addition of months, their addition of days, all of these things, they're totally outside of the tablets that are in the heavens. And Yahuwah Yom. Enoch, they call him Enoch. Chapter 74. The things that Enoch says are hard to be understood. The unlearned and the unstable will come here and twist the words of Enoch to their own destruction. Don't you do that. 10. Thus I saw their position, how the moons rose and the sun set in those days. And if 5 years are added together, the sun has an overplus of 30 days. 5 years. The sun will have an overplus of 30 days. And all the days which accrue, verse 11, to it, for one of those 5 years, when they are full, amount to 364 days. Can we stop? Do you keep a Sabbath on Pope Gregory's calendar? Pope Gregory's calendar has 365 and a quarter days. It has 7 intercalary days. It has 1 month, 1 period on the solar calendar that has 28 days. Did not Enoch say that each period has 30 days? Then 4 intercalary days are added. What else? They fix the starting of their solar year on that calendar, Pope Gregory's calendar, to the 21st. The equinox comes out on the 18th. So they have leap days, leap years. Yeah. You still think that calendar is accurate? It is not according to the tablets in heaven. It's been manipulated by the Gentiles. Let's continue. And the overplus of the sun and of the stars amount to 6 days. There's an overplus. 6 days. In 5 years, 6 days every year, come to 30 days. 5 times 6 equals 30. 12. And the moon falls behind the sun and the stars to the number of 30 days. 6 days a year, 5 years, the moon will fall behind 30 days. And the sun and the stars bring in all the years exactly. Note, this is why the Guyam, the Gentiles, chose the sun. It's stable. It's not like the moon that'll cycle back through all of the seasons. They chose the sun. Then they manipulated it. Once they put their hands on it, it was no longer accurate. But they did not change it in the sky. They just changed it on paper and fed this illusion to you. Don't fall for it. So that they do not advance or delay their position by a single day unto eternity. Do you see that? So they had to add all of their intercalary days and everything else. Do you know why they did that? Because they wanted to create a continuous cycle of weeks that go from month to month, week to week, year to year, without a restart. But complete the years with perfect justice in 364 days. No more. No less. In 3 years, the sun has 1,092 days. 5 years, 1,820 days. 8 years, 2,912 days. For the moon alone, the days amount in 3 years to 1,062 days. For the moon alone, the moon has 354 days. 3 times 354 equals 1,062. And in 5 years, she falls behind what? The sun. Hey, he's not giving us a 6-day overplus count, but here he's giving us a 10-day count in which the moon will fall behind the sun. What is he adding here? He's adding the 6-day overplus plus the 4 intercalary days. What did it say? For the moon alone? In other words, to the sum of 1,770 days. There is 5 to be added. I have to correct this translation. It should have said, if there's 2 years added to the 3 years, and in 5 years, there are 1,770 days. So that for the moon, the days, 6-day surplus, in 8 years, it will amount to 48 days. For in 8 years, she falls behind to the amount of 80 days. He gave you 2 counts. The 6-day overplus alone. Then he gave you the 6-day overplus and the 4 intercalary days. All the days she falls behind the sun and the stars in 8 years is 80 days. And the year is accurately completed in conformity with the world stations. The world stations? Yes. And the stations of the sun, which rise from the portals through which the sun rises and sets for 30 days. Listen to what it is saying here. Everything is accurate. Until what? Until men touch it. The sun, the moon, and the stars go through the same portals. The moon will fall behind 10 days every year. Is that accurate? That's what it's saying. If an adjustment was supposed to be done by you here on paper, this is where Enoch would have said, you have to make an adjustment to a 13th month, or bring the moon back to the equinox. He didn't say that. What did he say here? It is accurate until you change it. Chapter 75. And the leaders and the heads of the thousands who are placed over the whole creation and over all the stars have also to do with the 4 intercalary days. See, he's explaining it here. Being inseparable from their office according to the reckoning of the year. And these render service on the 4 days which are not, 2, reckoned in the reckoning of the year. So these 4 days are not counted in the year normally, but the ones who are the leaders and the heads of the thousands are the ones who place them where they are supposed to go. So the 6-day overplus that the sun has, plus the 4 intercalary days, tells you that the moon will fall behind the sun in the amount of 10 days every year. Is that perfect? Absolutely perfect. Until man steps in and changes things. Oh, okay. Here it is right here. And owing to them, men go wrong therein. Owing to them? Manipulating them? Changing them? Making an adjustment? That is where the men go wrong. For those luminaries, that's plural, sun, moon, stars, truly render service on the world stations, one in the first portal, one in the third portal of the heaven, one in the fourth portal, one in the sixth portal. And the exactness of the year is accomplished through its separate 364 stations. Everything is perfect. Don't touch anything. Don't change anything. For the signs and the times and the years and the days that the angel, the Aliyam, Uriah El, showed to me, whom Yahuwah of glory have set over all luminaries of the heaven. So here's the boss. Here's the go-to person. Uriah El. Hey, Yahuwah set him over all of the luminaries in the heaven and in the world, that they should rule on the face of the heaven and be seen on the earth and be leaders for the day and the night. In other words, the sun, moon, and stars, and all the ministering creatures which make their revolution in all the chariots. Hold it 1 second. Enoch is revealing something else. There's spacecraft that are flying around up there in the heavens, keeping the sun, the moon, and the stars working perfectly. See, he didn't know anything about spacecraft, UFOs, The only thing he could use was something from his time, which carried people around, a chariot pulled by horses. Do you think he was looking at a chariot with horses on it, flying around in the heavens? They were spacecraft of the heaven. In like manner, 12 doors Uriah showed me, open in the circumference of the sun's chariot in the heaven, through which the rays of the sun break forth, and from them is warmth. 12 doors. Keep that in mind. 5. Diffused over the earth when they are opened at their appointed seasons. Is that correct? Yes. Because there are seasons that they're opened in, and the winds, and the spirit of dew when they are open, standing open in the heavens at the ends. As for the 12 portals in the heaven, at the ends of the earth, out of which go forth the sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay? 12 doors. 12 portals. 7. And all the works of heaven in the east and in the west, there are many windows open to the left and right of them. How many window openings are there? There are 12 doors. There are 12 portals. There are 12 window openings corresponding to the 12 periods or the 12 months of the year. Look at this. And one window at its appointed season produces warmth, corresponding as these do to those doors from which the stars come forth according as he has commanded them. Who is he? It is Yahuwah of heaven, the master of the universe, the creator of all things. He is the one who gives Uriah the instructions to open or shut these windows. He can open up a window that is in the heavens that produces the dew, the rain, and the heat at his appointed time for you. You don't have to make an adjustment to the calendar to bring it back into April. It shows that you are not dependent, nor do you believe in him. Basically, to tell you the truth, we all have spit in his face. But he who is seated upon the throne, he can make it rain on one field, and the field right next to yours, the field of those who transgress the law, there can be drought. These windows, he can target the rain, the dew, and the heat. Why do we take the control out of his hand so that we can follow the Gentiles with their metonic cycle? Ask them, how has it worked for them? They're going to tell you that it's not, and then they're going to say, climate change. Who changed the climate? He who is seated upon the throne. Even in this book of Enoch, if you continue to read straight through the chapters, I believe it's 78, he said in the days of the sinners, in the last days which we are now, he's going to make the sun shine hotter than ever before. Is that true? Go look at the people who are in astronomy. They'll tell you that the sun is shining hotter than it ever did before. 8. And wherein they set corresponding to their number, if you change it, would it be corresponding to their numbers? Who is the only person that can change anything? He who is seated upon the throne. Can you change it here on paper? And it's going to match what he has ordained in the heavens? What is on the heavenly tablets? No, it's not. So you will not be on Yah's day. You're going to be on an abominable day. And I saw chariots in the heaven running in the world. Above those portals in which revolve the stars that never set. And one is larger than all the rest. Which one do you think that is? It's called the sun. And it is that makes its course through the entire world. Debarayam. That's Deuteronomy. Chapter 4. Verses 1 to 4. Well, at least they got the D right. Verse 1. Now therefore, O Yesharo, listen to me, and unto the statutes, and unto the judgments, which I teach you. Don't just listen to them, but also for you to do them, that you may live, and go in and possess the land which Yahuwah, Allah Yakum, of your fathers have given to you. We're getting ready to go into the land. We're getting ready to possess it. We have to follow these statutes and judgments. Hey, where's the statute to add a 13th month to the calendar? Ask everyone you come in contact with who believes in the Jewish or IUIC or any of these brothers on the internet that are teaching. Ask, where is the statute to make this adjustment to a 13th month? See what you get. But note, we came across this title for Yahuwah, Allah Yakum. It is under the number H430. H430 is Alayam. But this one is totally different from H430. It has an extra letter, a kaf in it. Ka. Allah Yakum. Okay, let's see what it means according to the ancient pictograph, which will aid us in defining what these titles mean. Remember this: a picture speaks 1,000 words. We know that Allah means mighty shepherd of men. We know that Yah is an arm stretched out. Ka is an open palm. And Me or Ma is the waters. So it's the mighty shepherd of men who stretched forth his arm with an open hand to the waters. Who are the waters? Look up top. the children of Yasharel only. He never stretched forth his hand to any other people, and that is a fact. Verse 2, listen to the commandment. You shall not add unto the word which I command you. If you add a 13th month, did you violate this? He said it's 364 days on the solar calendar. Uriah showed Enoch. Yahuwah told Uriah, teach him everything so he can teach us in these last days. Look what he said again. Do not add to the word which I command you. So if you added time to the calendar, additional months, you violated this law. Neither shall you diminish aught from it. If you're following Pope Gregory's calendar, he's deleted 3 days. He's fixed the beginning of the year, the solar year that is, to the 21st. He's taken away from it. Hey, if you're on that calendar, your Sabbaths or your feast days is on that calendar, you're a co-defendant with Pope Gregory, that you may keep the commandments of Yahuwah, your mighty shepherd of man, who stretched forth his arm with an open palm to secure Yasharel, which I command you. How clear is that? How clear is it? But yet, you have all of these brothers using the rules of postponement, adding additional months through the Metonic cycle. They're on Pope Gregory's calendar with their Shabbats. You violated this whole verse, chapter 2. Can I show you what the penalty is? Verse 3. Have you not seen what Yahuwah did because of Baal Peor, for all the men that followed Baal Peor? Yahuwah, your Alayak, have destroyed them from amongst you. You will be removed. You can't go into the land in violation, changing Yah's ways. Some things you cannot come back from. This is one of them. You cannot come back from calling on the name of another mighty one either. You can't come back from that unless you change right before the gathering. Verse 4. But you that did cleave unto Yahuwah your Allah Yakam are alive. You better cleave to him, every one of you this day. Go back to verse 3. Look, it's different. When I went into the text, I went through it maybe 4 or 5 times. I said, it's not Allah Yakam here, it's Allah Yak. Okay, so what does it mean? The mighty shepherd of man that stretched forth his arm with an open palm. Hallelujah. Yah. Get it together, brothers and sisters. The Father's not going to be playing with this. If it's not in your book to make an adjustment to a 13th month, why are you following it? Haven't you ever asked that question? Haven't you ever asked the question, if you're following it, who are you following? Well, Yahuwah Yam said that you're following the Gentiles. Now we know everyone who is following the Gentiles. How would you know them? Their feast days will be in April or March, because the time is past. There's no more March. There's no more April feast days. The moon is going to keep cycling back straight through the seasons for 32 and a half to 33 years until it comes back to its original starting point like it was at creation, where the moon would have 354 days and the sun will have 354 days. And after that year has passed, we saw it in 2018. When we got to 2019, the moon had moved away from the sun in the amount of 10 days. The 6-day over plus the 4 intercalary days. We witnessed all of these things. We are not coming from the imagination of our mind, for the Alayam told me to go out and investigate, to watch, observe these bodies and compare it to all of the texts in the book. And listen to me. It is totally accurate and flawless until men come in and change it. Don't let that be you, and don't participate with those who have done it, because you will have become a co-defendant. Shalom.